Hello there, and welcome to the world of Pokemon Primeval. My name is Professor Redwood, but everyone calls me the Pokemon Professor. Well, that's enough about me. Could you tell me about yourself? Are you a boy? Or a girl? Or non-binary? Or gender fluid?
You can be that in this game?
Of course!
Oh, hell yeah!
Great! Could you please also tell me your name? What a wonderful name! Well, I suppose it was time I told you a thing or two. This world is widely inhabited by mysterious creatures called Pokemon. Pokemon have mysterious powers. They come in many shapes and live in many different places. We humans live happily with Pokemon. Living and working together, we complement one another. We help each other to accomplish difficult tasks. Having Pokemon battle one another is particularly popular. It deepens the bond between people and Pokemon. But it wasn't always this way. Long ago, there were no Pokemon in this world, and that is what I research. The mysterious time when Pokemon first came into our world. There are many legends of that time, but until now, little was truly known. Ha! Why, some people have even made a game of it, where people with Pokemon powers have to utilize spell slots and items and materials to use their powers. Which is silly. Everyone knows Pokemon can just use their moves without any of that fluff. I'd like to tell you the amazing things I've discovered in the course of my research. Oh, dear me, where are my manners? I got so excited talking about the history of Pokemon, I forgot to introduce you to your best friends.
I'm David, Master of Dungeons and Pokemon.
Hi, I'm Vlad, and I'll be playing Charlotte Fuduciel, the Dragon of Galar.
Hey folks, my name's Adam. I'll be playing the role of Dart, the party's rogue.
Hey there, you can call me Josh if you want to, and I'll be playing Liz Flora, Witch of the Coven of Blue and Green, and Druid of the Circle of Wood and Sea.
Hey everybody, my name's Duffy, and I will be playing Cole. I am a ranger with a bit of a dark past.
Now that you've all met, the story can truly begin. During this journey, you will bear witness to triumph and pain, glory and infamy. You will tread down paths littered with bones and dust and sweat and blood and hope for a new world. You will meet many people with different personalities and points of view. I really hope you find what is most important in these stories. That's right, befriending new people and Pokemon and growing as a person. That is what's most important for your journey. Now, the history I shall relate to you has been meticulously and painstakingly reconstructed by myself, my partners around the world, and my team of assistants over the course of my entire career. Many of the primary sources and artifacts we have used are housed right here in the archive of the Royal University of St. Miret. If you wish, you can leave here after this lecture and view the transfer order of what is simply referred to as the Vermilion Sprite. The commissioning papers for one Shiba Aiko. Why, even the disciplinary report punishing 2 foot soldiers by the name of Brad and Kathy to night duty for their, quote, unconscionable failure. Others, meanwhile, can be seen in places like the Grand Sif Museum, which holds the world's largest collection of armor from the period of Pokegenesis, including a certain helmet. Some of it comes from studying the geological record around this same time. Oftentimes, we forget just how much the world itself was changed. I would encourage you to go and visit these sites, if not for the pure joy and wonder of getting to witness and therefore preserve our history, then for extra credit if you write a report on the experience. You will find a list of the resources used in today's lecture in your textbooks. For now, let us begin as the paths of the figures that will guide our story begin to cross. The spy, the stray, the warrior, the witch. Pallet Village was small. Pallet Village didn't matter. A lord's wealth in that land was measured by the amount of rice they could produce. And Pallet? Well, rice wouldn't grow there. They produced enough for subsistence, but most of that was just fish. They had a small port, but Vermilion's was larger and just a couple of hours further into Azure Bay. As far as Lord Goodman Dutch was concerned, Pallet was never worth bothering with. Until it was. In the final years of the war, troops from Johto made landfall in Pallet, ignored the common folk, and attacked Fort Viridian from the south, injuring Shogun Erickson. From then on, Pallet mattered a great deal. The young men were conscripted years ago. A garrison of troops from Celadon was stationed to sit on the bay and protect against future incursions. There was a truce in place, but every day could have been its end. On this particularly important day, the sun shone brightly over the water, though keen-eyed watchers might have been able to see storm clouds gathering over distant Fuchsia Peninsula. Here in Pallet, however, a soldier named Brad wondered about the possibility of Jotun spies slipping past him while he was on duty.
Brad might have felt better had he known there were no Jotun spies trying to get into Pallet today. The spy was already there. Dart had slipped into town yesterday, lost in a crowd of traveling merchants from Vermilion Harbor. The merchants were gone now, but the boy remained.
So Dart is a young man in his early 20s, though from the looks of him you might think he was older. He's pale, he has a wiry, thin build. He looks kind of haggard. He's got eye bags, he wears sort of patchwork clothes, a traveler's cape, a shirt, a pair of pants. In addition to that, he's about 5'7". He's overall kind of the type you might assume to be involved in shady stuff, which is a very reasonable assumption to have. Overall, with regards to his face, he kind of looks like Andrew Garfield if Andrew Garfield were 37% less attractive.
The lanky youth was looking for someone, but not a local. A mercenary had been hopping from town to town along the coast, leaving a trail of broken jaws and broken hearts in her wake from Lavender to Vermilion. Finally, her trail had led Dart to Pallet, specifically to Mako's Bar, a local watering hole. The tavern is doing a brisk business this morning, as soldiers from the Night Watch enjoy their supper and sake before they turn in for a day's rest. The people in the restaurant area are being waited upon by 4 children, who you would guess cover a range in ages from 5 to 12, while the people in the bar are served by a woman you would place in her early 30s. As a laughing young soldier stumbles up to the bar to request more rice wine, you catch that the woman is named Mako. Mako serves the soldier their beverage, then goes to the corner of the bar and begins talking very closely and quietly with a sitting woman you didn't notice before. She wears a soldier's tabard, though she is unarmored. The sitting woman appears heavily pregnant. The other soldiers seem to give her a wide berth. Dart, what do you do?
I'm going to go ahead and walk up to the barkeep. Good day, ma'am. How has business been?
What? Oh, it's fine. Very busy. Can I help you with something? Sir? Sorry. Forgive my manners. It's a busy morning.
Just give me a mug of water. I'm not very interested in alcohol, thank you.
She gives you a funny look, but she pours a pitcher of something into a glass for you and hands it over.
I'll go ahead and flip her a couple of silver.
Alright, she thanks you and pockets the money and then resumes talking to the pregnant soldier.
Can I listen in on their conversation?
Yes, I don't think the difficulty is in hearing them, but rather in doing so without appearing to. So I don't think this is a perception check. I think this is more stealth check.
That's a 19.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make the... I don't want to make the trip by myself is all. What if someone sees me? Is what you overhear before they stop talking.
Okay, I'm just going to take a swig of my delicious mug of water, try to look inconspicuous. I'm going to take a scan over the bar.
So, you see mostly soldiers, but not the specific soldier you're looking for. The person you're looking for wouldn't be wearing a military uniform.
And I have a description of what my quarry looks like.
Yes, you do, and you don't see any leather-clad blondes around here.
Okay.
Redhead.
Sorry, you don't see leather-clad redheads.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna finish my water and try to inconspicuously go upstairs, I suspect, to the rooms.
So you're trying to sneak upstairs. Okay, let's see how that goes. Let's see another stealth check, Dart. See how inconspicuous you can be.
Alrighty, that is 19.
Okay, that is a pretty good roll. Unfortunately, the dice were more on my side. A small child starts yelling at you like, "Hey, you're not supposed to go upstairs!" And you turn around and you see a small girl, looks about 6 years old, wearing rags and carrying a serving tray with drinks on it that looks a bit too large for her. You don't think that Mako at the bar overheard her over the din, though, of the soldiers talking.
Good morning, child. I don't suppose you'd be able to let me into one of the rooms. I seem to have forgotten my wallet as I was leaving earlier.
You're not a guest, mister. I don't know who you're trying to fool.
A guest is someone who gives you money, yes?
Ooh. Okay, give me a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay, that's good, because I rolled a 3 for the first one. Oh, natural 20 for the second.
First natural 20 of the game.
Her eyes light up and she extends, she looks around trying to be as inconspicuous as possible while putting a hand out behind her back. It's pretty blatant. It would be pretty blatant if anyone else was watching her, but no one seems to be paying much attention to you two.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and just put a gold piece on top of her head.
On top of her head?
Yeah, I mean, no one's really paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I think that would throw her off as much as it threw me off. She would take the coin from her head, and she looks at it with wide eyes. Whatever you want, mister. Let's get you to your room.
I don't quite remember which room I was staying in, so I may need you to open several rooms if that's alright.
Mister, if you're paying gold, you can have my room.
I don't think that'll be necessary, but it is appreciated.
She sets her serving tray down and leads you upstairs. And it looks like, actually, once you get up there, most of the rooms are open. There's really only one door that stands conspicuously closed and latched.
Kid, I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
It's Josie.
Josie, would you mind...
What's your moniker?
Oh, call me Steve.
Steve, I feel like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes, the feeling is very mutual, and I mean that with all sincerity. Then I guess I'm heading to the locked room.
Josie puts the key in the lock, turns it, takes the key back, and remember, mister, this conversation never happened. And she works her way back downstairs.
I give her a little salute as she heads down. Knock, knock.
Go away.
Housekeeping.
I do not require housekeeping.
Ma'am, Miss Mako will have my head if I don't hurry up and get your room clean.
From inside, the sounds of the voice you hear are slightly strained. Then Mako can speak to me herself later.
Ma'am, I'm just going to go ahead and open the door.
Inside, Dart first sees a blonde woman sitting on the bed with the white sweat-stained sheets pooled in her naked lap. She doesn't notice you at first because she is staring at the woman in the middle of the floor. Char's red hair lies across her back in a thick tail that goes to the middle. Char's body is hard and defined with muscle, but she isn't bulky. The lines of her body are long and lean, built for strength and speed, not for show. You can see this because most of the muscles of her back are exposed because she is doing one-handed push-ups in the middle of the floor in black silk shorts and what would be the equivalent of a sports bra today. You only see this for a second, though, because as soon as you open the door, she rolls to her feet and has her hand on the sword that was resting by the bed. I believe,
says the blonde woman.
Yes, sorry, dear. I believe I told you that you were not invited in.
It's a fortunate thing that Miss Mako owns this inn, then.
You don't actually look like one of her children, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that you aren't one of the serving staff.
I sort of look down at myself, examine my clothes. You have a point.
Okay, well, Char, this has been lovely. It was nice spending time with you, but I think I am going to get out of here.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. I wish I could say that this never happens, but this happens with a fair amount of frequency. I'll talk to you later, dear.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Excuse me, sir, she says, bundling the bedclothes up around her and scampering off into the hallway to hide in another room. And we'll see if we hear from her again.
I just sort of weakly reach out by the time she's in the hallway and say, "Ma'am, those bed sheets should be in..." Never mind. And I turn back to Char. So...
Well, you've scared off my companion for the day. Who are you?
Well, ma'am, since you're canny enough to know that I clearly don't actually work at this inn, you may appreciate a bit more forthcomingness. I'm here to offer you a job, the kind of work that you're more accustomed to.
I happen to be on vacation at the moment.
I wasn't aware mercenaries took vacation.
They do when they have slain 1,000 soldiers, earned a name, and their company commander suggests that they need some time off.
You may be pleased to know that killing 1,000 soldiers is no small feat, and it's because of this notoriety that you've recently accrued that my bosses have handed down the task of hiring you to me, and so we'd like to enlist your services.
Char lifts the sword and points it at you. Walking in your direction, she uses the tip of the blade to close the door behind you and gets relatively close. You've invaded my personal space, scared off my companion, and now you're offering me a job when I'm on vacation. Darling, you're very close to pissing me off, so whatever your offer, I would suggest that you word it in the most polite of terms.
I'm going to go ahead and
sorry, go ahead.
slowly reach behind me toward the hilt of my short sword, which is sort of concealed on my back hip.
And Char is going to roll to see if she notices you reaching for a sword.
Alright, Dart, we're going to have you roll sleight of hand, and Char, you will contest that with a perception check. So we'll see who rolls the higher number.
Alright, hopefully I do better. Hey, a natural 1.
17.
A 17, it may surprise you to know, beats a natural 1. So, Char, the floor is yours. How does this go?
Char's hand whips out and grabs his wrist and pulls it away from the sword and spins Dart around, pushing him at the wall. She's going to grapple and restrain him.
Ow! Okay, that's athletics.
Or acrobatics. You can use either.
Acrobatics, then. So that's a 3 without modifiers. So that'd be an 8 with modifiers.
21.
Char, the floor is still yours.
So Char manages to pin Dart to the wall, face first next to the door. She's got her blade out, and she is basically pinning you against the wall one-handed.
Ow!
Ma'am.
I believe I said to be polite. That wasn't very polite, now was it?
I guess it takes one to know one. The lady who was in your bed had a wedding ring on, if you didn't notice.
I did notice, in fact. We had a very long conversation about her troubles with her husband, and she much preferred to spend the night with me.
Oh.
And I don't see how anywhere on Earth that is even remotely your business. And she's going to twist his arm just a little.
Ow! I guess I'm the asshole then. Ow!
Indeed.
In the midst of your struggles, the door opens, and Mako, the bar owner, walks in. She looks at Char, she looks at Dart. Soldier woman, if you're not busy, I have something I'd like to talk to you about. A friend of mine needs help.
What is wrong with this place? I haven't even had breakfast yet, and this is the second job offer. Do you know this man, Mako? He presented himself as an employee of yours.
I'm part-time.
I'm going to go ahead and assume this is a lie.
I can't actually afford employees right now. That's why I have children.
Well, as good a reason to have them as I've ever heard. And at this point, Char is going to put her blade down. She's going to take her other hand, put it on the back of Dart's collar, and she is going to DJ Jesse Jeff him out of the room.
So, Dart goes sailing out the room with all 4 limbs completely off the ground, and before we can really find out what happens to him, Mako closes the door. My friend is in a bit of a hard spot. She's going to have a baby soon. It's not safe for her to have it in the place where she's in right now. She could use someone strong and brave to help her get someplace safer. I was hoping you would be that person.
I suppose I can't turn my back on a fellow woman in trouble, can I? Do I have enough time to at least get some bloody clothes on? I'm tired of having conversations in my underwear.
Yes. Why don't you get changed? I'll get breakfast ready for when you come down.
Danke.
Shane. Liz, you're standing with your Aunt Rita on a hillside overlooking a large depression by the coast. Until 2 years ago, this area was a salt marsh. It wasn't a place for humans, but there was life there. Now it is a reeking pit of dead, rotting plants.
So I think through all of the description that's come before, the camera's kind of been sort of tracking around, following the vision, sort of taking in all of the muck and destruction and the reeking mess of the salt marsh. And then as Aunt Rita's sightline comes back and tracks up, we finally get our first kind of good look at Liz. So I think one of the first things you notice when you're looking at Liz is she wears a pretty big hat. The hat that I have in mind is a lot like the mage's hat from Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's just kind of a russet brown color, and it's got a very... it has a large echinacea flower tucked into the hat band. It's kind of a blue-green color. And the russet brown of the skin kind of offsets her own espresso or chocolate dark skin tone. She's a very round person. Carries a lot of weight through her shoulders, kind of very round cheeks. And she's wearing a loose-fitting sort of a poncho. The poncho she's wearing is definitely homemade, and it looks almost more like it's there just to keep the sun from getting her too hot, or if it just happens to rain, more so than it is as an actual shirt. She's also wearing leggings underneath that only go down to about her knees, bare legs all the way down to a pair of very sturdy ankle boots. And she is scrutinizing the salt marsh.
Levees couldn't keep out the salt water. And as she points down, you can see where the barrier between sea and rice paddy has failed, and where the seawater is mixing in with the water that was supposed to be growing the rice. I told those council idiots this was a bad spot for rice. I hated to watch the soldiers kill the marsh, but I at least hoped it was for a good cause. To help people, you know?
You know, I don't think I'm ever going to be convinced that they're actually here to help.
Well, you get to be my age, you see people make a lot of mistakes. Sometimes you just let them make it without saying anything.
Is that what we're doing then? We're continuing to not say anything?
I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying it's what I did. Well, what do you think, little flower? Anything worth salvaging here? This is the time to go home.
would you like me to roll, like, perception, survival?
I'd say you walk down together and make an investigate check.
In that case, it is a 17.
You two walk down together along the edge of the paddy. Rice plants that everyone works so hard to plant dying because the soil's gone wrong. The levee was set up as a mud wall with sandbags and a resin-soaked linen barrier to protect against the sea. It was never super well constructed in the first place, but as you get closer, you can see that the resin wrap has been cut away in the area where the seawater is pouring in. The sandbags in the area show evidence of knife damage.
I will, I go over and lift a bit of the cut portion. Well, you're right, the levee sucked, but this certainly didn't help.
Her eyes widen at that. Like, sabotage? Why? Who would do that? I ain't asking, I'm just wondering out loud, you know? Man, people are stupid.
War makes people do stupid things. At some point, you let people starve long enough, you can come in and give them food and stick around, pretending that you're keeping people safe.
That's one thought. We'll have to tell the mayor about this later, but for now, let's go home and check on your auntie. So as you open the door, you see your other aunt. This portion of the cottage serves as the village apothecary, where Bella has all of her tinctures and unguents and salves and tonics. She smiles broadly and says, "Oh, good, you're back. I could use your help tonight. You know Samara, the soldier? I think tonight's the night she has her baby, and it's going to happen right here in our own cottage. Isn't that exciting?" How your aunt knows when to expect visitors is a mystery you've never unlocked and never really questioned, but intellectually you do understand that other families are occasionally surprised by company.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is, my family is weird. I am at peace with that. I am not at peace with other people thinking that.
Well, Rita comes in after you with a big smile on her face, which Bella returns with one of her own. They share a hug and kiss, but as they come apart, Bella notices the worry on her wife's face, and she asks, "Is it bad?" "No homegrown rice this year, baby." "The whole crop? I can't believe it, after all that destruction." Hey, this town's gonna be okay. Vermilion's always got plenty of rice to sell. We'll get by. This is a problem even the mayor can solve. "I know, but Lord Dutch was very clear that within a year this town had to be self-sufficient." Anger darkens Rita's face. "We were self-sufficient. We got along just fine before Dutch dropped his soldiers off here and told us to take care of them. If he doesn't like the way things are going, those freeloaders are welcome to leave." And with that, she storms off, presumably to take her frustrations out on the weeds.
Once Rita leaves the cottage, somebody cut the levee.
Sabotage?
That's the way it's looking.
You know, Liz, I need to make sure everything's ready tonight, but someone really should tell this news to Mayor Herschel. When your brother gets back, can the two of you go into town and tell him? And maybe check on Samara, too. I have a feeling she might need help tonight.
Sure, yeah.
A few minutes later, a figure approaches out of the woods. He's about 6 feet tall, shrouded in a green cloak. You can see a little bit of studded leather armor, and when he pulls back his hood, he has flaming orange hair. He silently walks over and adds the wood that he's collected to the pile, and sees Liz approaching.
I think Liz comes to you and says, you good to go back out? My aunts have a couple of errands they want run in the village.
Yeah, of course I can help. I just ran into the town's newest samurai, someone named Shiba Aiko, in the woods.
And? How was she?
We didn't get off to a great start.
Well, par for the course, I guess.
I tend to have that effect.
Are we good to head out, or is there anything else you need around here?
Nope, I can eat and walk at the same time. That's while we're on the move. Liz is telling me what the deal is, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the reaction Cole would have to hearing that somebody's about to go into labor would be him immediately getting wide-eyed and nervous about what's about to happen. And then hearing about the levy, the look on his face goes to, yeah, that sounds about right for people.
It sounds like everyone's on the same page, so you should be getting to the tavern just in time for a fully dressed Char to come downstairs to have her talk with Mako. Presumably Dart has regained consciousness and is following around at this point, although I guess that's up to him.
Well, what's going on is that after the cartoon frogs have stopped bouncing around in circles around my head, I sneak back into Char's room, and with a dagger, I carve into her bedpost in Thebes' Kant the Dragon of Galar's doo-doo head, and then with a crude cartoon depiction of Char making an angry expression and flipping the bird.
Wow.
Some very expressive cartoons you've got there, sir.
Carved, no less.
Into her bedpost.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
destruction of property.
It's not easy to do with wood.
Unless you want to make me roll strength or something.
It's probably just an intelligence skill check then.
Okay. That's a 16.
Yeah, it's a pretty good cartoon. Not many people have their letters in general. Even fewer would know thief code. But yeah, the pictures are very good.
Cool. I wipe the wood chips away and just kind of sigh. I was never good at talking to people. And I leave Char's room and just, in essence, I'd be embarrassed to be seen by her. I think I'm just gonna hop out a window.
It cuts to like an alleyway shot. Liz and Cole walk past going into the inn, just like behind us.
I don't think I'm going to make you roll for the jumping out the window just because I don't really want you to fail, so...
I'll roll perception.
Okay.
I got a 16 for perception.
So I'm going to say you heard it.
I'm not even going to do much about it. I'll look over my shoulder, and if I see Dart hitting, recovering from the jump, I'm just going to look back straight ahead and say, huh, that's weird.
Liz legit just shrugs. It's like, whatever. In this town, soldiers around, people doing shit.
Fair.
And with that, I think I'm going to just...
Okay. What if after that you kind of look to your left and... oh gosh, what was her name? Amanda?
Yeah.
Well, she's in the alley too, just kind of doing her makeup and getting her hair back on straight. And you two just kind of share a look at each other like, hi.
I just kind of nod at her. That little curt upwards nod. Maybe hide behind a dumpster and wait for Char to come out of the tavern.
She looks at you strangely, continues to apply her makeup with her hand mirror, and then walks somewhere else.
Just casually strolls out of our story.
Yep. Possibly forever. Who knows? But on the other hand, I wasn't expecting to see her again in this alleyway, so maybe she'll surprise us again. Hard to tell where stories will go. Mm-hmm. But this one is going inside the tavern now, where Liz and Cole find the woman that they want to talk to, but she has just been joined by two other women, now that Mako has stepped behind the bar and sat a red-headed stranger down next to Samara.
I have business with Samara. If this stranger doesn't like that business, then I can casually bow out.
Cole will stay back a couple paces, eyeing up the one he does not recognize, while he's got an arm primed. He doesn't have his hand on the handle of anything, but he's tensed.
So Liz walks up to Samara and says, I take it you are Samara.
She looks at you, she looks at the red-headed stranger,
And who might you be?
Hi, my name is Liz. I live with my aunts up on the cottage on the north side of the village. It's nice to meet you, Miss...
I am Charlotte Fuduciel.
Okay, so, Miss Charlotte Fuduciel, this may seem...
Do you have some business with the young lady here?
It's worth noting that both Mako and Samara seem very surprised to see you, as just kind of like, whoa, weird timing.
Yeah,
Like, speak of the witches, and here one comes.
So yes, this may be a bit unexpected, but I was asked by my aunt to come down and to pay a visit talking to Samara directly. Like, her eyes are darting back and forth between Char and Samara, because it's like, okay, who am I actually talking to here?
Sure. Samara, for her part, looks rather sheepish and just seems to be trying to kind of disappear into her stool. Mako reaches across the bar to put a hand on Char's shoulder and say, like, no, I think this is perfect. Why don't we all sit down?
Char is gonna look at her briefly, then sort of take the lead and sit back down.
Liz is not going to sit down. She's really just sort of delivering this message and getting out at this point. So my aunts wanted me to convey the message to you that we are expecting you later this evening. Come at your own time. We will have things prepared for you. Is there anything in particular that you think you will require outside of the ordinary? Anything that we can do to make you more comfortable in our home?
She takes a while to process just how weird it is that you showed up exactly when you did, and then says, like, no, I just want this to go smoothly and safely, and I don't want to have to see any soldiers.
Okay. Will you be able to have you made arrangements to get up to the cottage? Okay. Well, in that case, it was lovely to see you. Of course, I apologize for the short notice, and I know that this is perhaps a little strange, but we will be seeing each other later tonight. And then Liz just gives kind of a little nod to Samara and to Char, and then another one to Mako, and turns to leave the bar.
Samara, at this point, seems to have found some of her courage, and she turns to you, Char, and says, so, can I count on you? When I need you, will you be there to take me up the hill?
As I said, I will get you there.
Thank you.
While I'm waiting for Char to come out of the tavern, is there a carpenter in town?
You find a large armed woman. She's lathing down the legs of a chair, putting some signature spin on the final piece of the craft.
Good day, ma'am.
Hey, how's it going? Who are you? I've never seen you around here before.
I'm just passing through town. I'm on my way to Viridian. Do you happen to have a plank of wood for sale, and maybe just just the materials, maybe nails for making just a simple sign?
Oh, well, if you want a sign, I can make you a sign.
Oh,
I got some time open. Get you about 3 days. You tell me what you want on it. Yeah, I can make you up something real nice.
I don't have that much. Well, I don't have that much time, I'm afraid. I'll have to jury
raw
rig
materials
one.
Then?
Yes, please. How much would that be?
All right. Raw materials, nails, wood, 4 copper.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you. Ka-ching.
All right, and you have your raw materials. Congratulations.
Da 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 da.
Beep-a-doodly-doo.
Okay.
Yes.
With the materials in tow, I'm gonna go ahead and head back to an alley behind the tavern and start my masterwork. I'm just assembling a sign real quick.
Would Cole be able to look down the same alley and now see the dude who jumped out a window just randomly working on a piece of wood?
Yeah.
Still weird.
I don't know, Cole. It's a weird town.
You're not wrong.
The town council has monthly meetings set up where business owners, Mako the innkeeper, the head of the merchants, where everyone assembles to decide town business and see how things are going. But when it is not being used as council chambers, it is also just Mayor Greaser's house. I guess it'd be more accurate to say that Herschel Greaser has the biggest house in the town, and he is kind enough to let these ladies of the city council use it once a month for their little club meetings, as he would call them. As you get to the house, you can hear a conversation going on the other side of the door. You can hear the mayor saying, Now, calm down, your ladyship. Sir Iko will suffice, Mayor Greaser. Oh, of course, forgive me. I'm just saying that the loss of this crop is not so dire an emergency as it seems. We've always caught plenty of fish to keep your soldiers happy, and plenty of salt for trade as well. If we need to import rice for another year, no one's going to starve. I do, of course, wish we could have fulfilled the daimyo's wishes, but surely he can be content with one bountiful harvest rather than two. Pray that he is, Mayor, for your sake, if no one else's. And with that, she opens the door and walks into you two. Tall, still wearing her traveler's robes, swords clasped to her belt. Her outer cloak looks like it was well made. Her lower cloak still carries some mud and dust from travel. Actually, why don't you give me an insight roll?
Proficient, so that's a 19 total.
19. Okay, this is not really normal. From what you remember from the samurai that you knew in another lifetime, this sort of work traveling on foot without a horse, robes that are made of cotton or burlap even rather than silk. While the swords look very nice, this is sort of the lowest class samurai you've ever known.
Liz looks as she stands in Aiko's as this colossus casts her shadow over Liz, who's only 5'1". Liz just sort of sees this as head dips and steps to the side, because in somebody who is this big and apparently important way is not a place where Liz wants to be.
Cole, you can see she looks in a much fouler mood than she was earlier. She looks you, recognizes you, gives you a little nod, and then storms off in the direction of the garrison.
Better reaction than Cole really expected, but he probably would have done the same thing that Liz did and just stepped over to the side, but never really broke eye contact with Aiko.
Oh, with that, you can hear the sound of someone slumping into a chair, and you hear liquid filling up a mug coming from inside.
Even though the door is open, Liz knocks.
There's a pause, just long enough for someone to take a deep drink. Come in.
Perspective cuts to from inside the office, and Liz's head kind of pops around the door. Yes, Mayor Greaser, may we come in?
He motions you inside. Oh, yes, Miss Flora, you can come on in. He then notices that he has yet to put the bottle of sake on his desk be out of view, which he then puts on the floor behind the desk very quickly.
Can Cole set something in motion here from the jump? I want to remain mostly quiet, but I want to roll insight check for the conversation that Liz is about to start with him, combined with what we just heard, and I want to see his reaction. So that's an insight of 26, because that was a natural 20.
Wow.
Yeah, Mayor Greaser. My aunt and I were we went out to examine the salt marsh to see if there was anything that we could maybe salvage from the rice paddies. And while we were examining things, we found something that my aunt thought ought to be brought to your attention.
Go on.
Yes, as we were looking at the levee, it would seem that the resin cloth that protected the levee, we found evidence that it didn't tear and rather had been cut.
Oh heavens. He puts his head down, mops sweat off his brow. Oh, sweet Hoa, why do you torment your children so?
How sincere does that look to Cole? Yeah.
With a natural 20, you know that this surprise is feigned. You know that he was aware of this. You know, this Flo, this is terrible news. And as you know, this town has enemies. He begins toying with a ring on his finger.
What is the ring?
Give me an investigation check.
15.
All right. Once he moves his hand away, you can see that it's a simple ring. The band is of simple metal, but there is a little wooden crest on it, and you can just make out the shape of. Well, I'm not sure if you would recognize it. Make a religion check.
That is a 4.
Yeah, it's some kind of bird, but it's not one you recognize.
Gotcha. Liz says, "Yeah, it really is a shame that that somebody would do that. We looked around, and even with our capabilities, there's really nothing that can be done at present out with the salt marsh."
Cole puts a hand on Liz's shoulder and moves forward to stand right opposite the mayor, look him square in the eye. What kind of person would cut a levee and destroy a crop like that?
As I said, this town does have its enemies. Some without, some within. We have been dependent on rice shipments from Vermilion for a good couple of years now. Were we to become self-sufficient, not only would Vermilion stand to lose profits, but the pirates from Fuchsia who prey upon the merchant vessels would also stand to lose. That being said, we was expecting a caravan earlier today. It has not arrived. I don't know whether these two events are connected, but you can see how unhappy our new samurai overseer is with the state in which he has found our little town. Now, we are missing a crop of food, son. This is a year's worth of food that could have kept this town alive and kept our good daimyo happy. We need a win. We need something to make us look good to Ms. Aiko. Do you think I could trouble you to take a trip along the coastway and ensure our Vermilion neighbors make it here safely and quickly? I can pay you 40 sen for the job.
I don't speak for anybody but myself. I'm happy to help the people, but I'm just as interested in finding out who destroyed the levee.
As am I, son. As am I. My gut says it's the pirates. I think you've got a read on him. You know at this point that a nat 20 will tell you that he knew about this before you told him, and what's more, you think he knows who did it.
Okay.
In fact, you're sure he knows who did it.
I would like to roll an intimidation roll and just lean in, look him dead in the eye. You're sure you don't know who's responsible for this? Oh, God.
Fine.
No,
Fine.
That's only a 10.
Now, son, I say this town has been happy to take care of you, and we are happy to take care of you further. You go and find my caravan, and if, heaven help us, the worst has befallen them, then perhaps we will find the clues we seek with those supplies that we desperately need.
We appreciate your generosity, Mayor Greaser. And Liz will sort of like grab Cole's arm to give him the "we should be going" look, and I will just sort of left hand kind of hooked through his arm, sort of guide him towards the door. And once we get outside and the door is shut behind us and we're like finally have some privacy, maybe when we're outside the house even, Liz is just gonna be like, just let out a big breath. Man, this town's been happy to take care of you. This town hasn't done shit for us.
You thought that too, right?
Does he seem sort of greasy to you?
Just because of the name.
Yeah, no, he reminds me of after after you've cooked just bacon, the stuff that is left, the scum that is left over in the pan.
He knows. He knew about the levee before you said anything. I would stake my life on it.
That son of a bitch. So do we, he's not wrong that the town needs the food from the caravan. Do we go after that, or do you think it's more important that we investigate things around here?
We need to help the town first.
Okay.
And maybe we will find something or someone we can talk to.
Okay. And if there's, with things being what they are, do you think that he suspects that you don't trust him?
If he doesn't suspect, he's an idiot.
Okay.
I blatantly tried to force his hand.
Okay. Yeah, you're not wrong. So I think that it might not be terribly wise for us to go and check this caravan out by ourselves, and I don't think that we can trust anybody that is a regular in the town, because we don't know who is working for the mayor.
Well, you know how far my trust runs, so.
Right. What was your read on the big woman from the tavern?
I would trust someone who does something for money more than I would trust anyone else, really.
Okay, and you think that 10 or 20 zen would keep her copacetic?
I think there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
As Liz and Cole make their way to the tavern, they turn their heads to look at something. Dart has been busy in their absence, it seems. What is it they see? We're not sure yet, but they give each other a look and share a single word. Weird. Then they head on inside.
Cole, hesitantly, because he doesn't like meeting new people, would make his way up to the bar and put himself in the sightline of Char.
Char looks at him. She sees Liz nearby, looks back to Cole, inviting him to speak first.
He would move close, but not too close. He doesn't really want other people to overhear what he's about to talk about. From what I heard in your conversation earlier, I hear you are a mercenary.
Giratina's hairy swinging nutsack. What the bloody hell is wrong with this town? I have been here less than a day. I got in late last night. I've had barely enough time to get myself 2 meals and a shag, and I've already had 3 job offers.
Cole's eyes get a little wide, taking all that in. Gets a little bit down low, and I can tell you one problem with this town is that they're going to be running out of food, unless we do something about it.
She looks at you. What do you mean?
The levee was sabotaged, and an entire year's worth of rice crop was lost. This town has been relying on neighboring towns to supply it with rice, and a caravan that was carrying that rice never made it here, and we've been asked to find out what happened.
Chara's gonna look at you quietly for a second, tapping her finger on the bar.
Liz would, from Cole's other side, we think the mayor might have something to do with it, and we know that we can't trust the garrison here. We also don't necessarily know if we can trust you, but if profit's a motivation, I think we'd rather have you than anybody else I can think of in town.
She's gonna look at you, and when you say that the mayor was the one who did it, her eyes are gonna narrow, both in anger and also speculation. What would this job pay?
10 cent?
20.
15.
20.
I'm weighing in my mind doing a persuasion or attempting an intimidation check, just to see how it goes.
Liz puts a hand on Cole's arm. I think we can afford 20.
Cole will look at Char and 20, but if we find any information that implicates the mayor, you help us take him down.
If we find information that implicates the mayor, that will be a very different discussion. And she gets up, downs what remains of her beer in a single long pull, and heads upstairs. When she comes back down, she's noticeably heavier. Her footfalls are different. Her stride is stronger. It's almost like she's more comfortable in the armor with the sword at her side, the shield on her arm. It's like now she feels like she's in her element. And as she walks up to you, she's going to lift the helmet and slide it over her head. And from that point on, the only part of her face that you can see are her eyes.
When you come back down all armored up, Cole will put his arm out. My name is Cole.
She'll reach out and take his hand. Charlotte Feu du Ciel. But if you will be fighting beside me, you may call me Char.
Char it is. And shake.
She's gonna say, lead on, and follow you out of the inn, whereupon I assume I see whatever sign Dart has rigged for Char.
Yes. Hastily carved on the sign are the words, "Are you a bloodthirsty mercenary brute from foreign lands? Are you looking for exciting and new job opportunities? Do you like killing people and maiming people for no discernible reason? Then please come to Johto, where opportunities to kill and murder abound. Just ask for the toads at the border checkpoint."
This is a long-ass sign!
And to which Char's reaction is gonna be like the dog head tilt, like, what?
Oh, let it be known that Dart is currently peeking out as he sits in a garbage can. Kind of Oscar the Grouching, he's just kind of just a pair of eyes poking out from a garbage can.
Brad and Kathy, the two guards from the start of this episode, walk over, take a look at the sign, and Brad says, "What the hell? I sure wish I could read." And then they walk inside the tavern. Carry on.
Char's reaction is that dog head tilt to the side like, what the fuck? She's gonna turn to Liz and Cole and ask, do you allow recruiting for the Jotun army here? What kind of a psychotic town is this?
Liz just kind of shrugs, is like, man, I don't allow shit, and then starts heading out towards the edge of town.
As they're leaving town, I'm going to pop out of the garbage can with a banana peel on my head and just sort of try to as inconspicuously and stealthily follow as I can.
You know on foot the trip would take 2 days, but you figure you can at least travel for a couple hours before you have to head back.
Is there any cover on the sides of the roads, like trees or anything like that?
Not so much. The road to Viridian is a lot more heavily wooded. This is more of a coastal road. It's a lot more beaches and scrubs.
As stealthily as he could, Cole would move ahead as like a, reconnaissance.
You make your way past the dead rice paddies, further along where the area becomes less beachy and more cliffy. Cole, give me a nature check. Oh, no, actually, survival.
18.
So an 18 is going to be enough for you to find the wagon tracks. So at some point, a wagon left the road. You backtrack a little bit, and you find the place where the wagon veered off towards the coast, or towards the bay. It looks like they go off the edge of a cliff.
Oh, perfect. I will signal Liz and Char that I found these tracks, these wagon tracks. They head toward the cliff.
Combined with what you said about the levees, your town is under attack.
Liz is going to go and look over the cliff.
You do see a wagon. The cliff is not tremendously tall. It's about 40 feet. Still enough that the cart is ruined. It's low tide right now, and the wagon does not look wet. It doesn't look like it's been damaged by water. Whatever's inside might still be salvageable.
I found the wagon, and if we get down there quickly enough, we might be able to salvage some of the food before the tide comes back in.
Jar is going to put her hand on your shoulder. I was not joking. Your town is under attack. It's being starved out.
Duly noted, yes. There's food down there.
Is there anything that I could anchor a rope to? Or is there like a pathway down the cliff?
The cliffs are rocky enough that you think you could get down safely. You feel confident that you could do that. Char's a bit heavier than you are. Liz is not as strong as you are. So, yeah, you think a rope would be helpful. There are some larger rocks or some densely wooded scrubs that might hold a person's weight. With a good enough crafting check, you could a good enough survival check, you could secure a rope and gain advantage on your climb roll. However, if you fail the check, you might not know you did a bad job.
I mean, I'm going to give it a shot.
Actually, let me roll. I think I'm going to roll for you in secret, actually, since the results of this roll won't be known to you.
Okay.
Alright, you have secured a rope, as secure as you can make it.
Okay. I'm going to climb my way down.
I'm going to hang out up at the top. This is not something that I feel terribly safe doing.
Alright, you can make your athletics check with advantage.
18.
Yeah, you make it down pretty easily.
Is Char going to follow, or should I just investigate down here?
Jar is actually going to be looking around the area, doing her own investigation. She's looking for signs of struggle, possibly blood, or anything that would indicate what happened here, how that cart got down there. Was this the people who were driving the cart being bribed or otherwise throwing it over the side willingly, or were they attacked and somebody else did it?
So you find those signs of a struggle because you were expecting them and you're looking for them. How well you interpret those signs will depend on a survival check.
20.
While there's not tree cover around side, there is that boulder and the scrubs. It was just enough for a small group of people. You count 5 sets of footprints to come out and ambush whatever person and animal were pulling this cart. You see some blood spatter on the ground. Then you see tracks of what looks like a body being led away. What's interesting is that it looks like the cart stopped for a while, stayed still, and then was moved after the fight off the cliff. You did not see the signs of an animal down at the ruins of the cart, but based on the tracks, you can tell that one had to have been there.
Okay, can I tell how fresh it is? How long ago this happened?
Hours ago.
And do I see tracks leading away back into the forest from the road?
No, but you do see the tracks instead go back to the edge of the cliff. Investigating the cliff, you can see what looks like some pythons pushed into the side that you didn't see before.
After seeing this, she's going to go over to the side and call down to Cole. Whoever did this, escape down there. They might be waiting for you, and she's going to start climbing down. 15.
So did you take the rope, or did you take the pythons that were placed in the cliff by the other people?
I'm taking the pythons. I'm on their trail now.
It will put you in pretty much the same place. Cole, from your position, you can see that there are some where a cave has been carved into the side of the cliff by water action. There is a cleft that is wide enough for people to enter.
Well, okay. I'm down there with the wreckage. If I need it, I rolled a 16 for investigation, but how much food is here? Do I see any other bits of anything?
There are some smashed bits of ruined barrels. There's a lot of rice spilled into the sand, but not enough to have filled up a whole cart.
Are there any bodies or anything like that? There's no signs of people?
There are plenty of footprints, and there's blood towards the front of the cart where it looks like something large was dragged, possibly an animal.
But there's no carcass or anything?
No, but there's plenty of blood indicating that an animal was killed at this site.
I think as I see them kind of disappearing into, I've been watching from up top. I think Liz sort of takes kind of that like one more look around, like, well, shit.
Give me a perception check, Dart. If you do not wish to be seen yet, make your stealth check.
By the way, you got to beat like a 7, so you win that one on modifier.
Yeah, I kind of automatically do since I rolled a 5 there.
There's not a lot of like obviously good cover, but this is the thing that you are extremely good at, and so you've been following us this entire time, but there's been some distance, and so like from a distance you saw Cole go over the edge while Liz just kind of nervously looked on, and Charlotte looked around, and then Charlotte went over the edge somewhere else, and then you see Liz just be like, oh, like watching down the cliff for a while, and then gives a sort of exasperated sigh and throws her shield onto her back, and just very heavily favoring her left hand, starts climbing down whichever of the 2 ropes looks to be the safest. So, how about that cave?
I would like to move up to the edge of the mouth of the cave, stay on the side, and just listen. Can I hear anything other than water?
Is Jar down there? Because if so, she's going to go with him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going in the cave. I just want to be on the outside lip of the cave, trying to hear.
She's going with you to watch your back. She's not going to let you go investigate the potentially scary cave by yourself.
The sound of waves crashing against the beach is going to make it hard to hear something, but you can give me a perception check. Just keep in mind difficulty is going to be high.
22.
It's almost like he's based on the good detective boy.
Right. I'm based off the goodest boy. I have heightened senses.
Everything is loud. The crashing surf makes it almost impossible to focus on what's going on around you. You can hear Charlotte next to you, but then you're just able to kind of take your mind away and focus and just really try to be aware of everything your body is trying to tell you. And in that brief moment of clarity, you hear the click of a crossbow bolt being drawn into place inside the cave.
I'll turn to Shar, get my head away from the mouth of the cave, say there's a loaded weapon in there.
Oh, good. My exercise was cut short this morning. And she is going to head towards it, shield forward.
So Shar rushes in. Okay.
she's going in shield first, but she's doing that 300 thing where she's covering herself with most of the shield and her sword is pointed forward above the lip of the shield.
So, Charlotte charges in, shield drawn. The bolt fires. It impacts off the shield. Once you're inside and your eyes try to adjust, you can see that there are barrels stacked inside this cave. There are rocks, there are stalagmites, stalactites. Some people are hiding behind them. They have bolts trained on you. The first one missed. The second one, what is your armor class?
With the shield, 18.
Another impact. 2 bolts hit your shield, but now you're free to act. There are 5 people. They've taken cover to train weapons on you. 4 of them are wielding bows, but one is holding a large 2-handed axe, and it stands over a precious-looking treasure chest.
Who's closest?
With one movement, you can get close to the 2 closest archers.
Okay, and I can do that in one movement. I can't get to the one with the axe?
Not without going past the archers, no.
Can I barrel through them and head straight to him? Like, body check them on my way is the idea. I want to be too close to him for them to be able to safely take a shot, and that'll disrupt whatever he's...
This sounds like an athletics roll.
Yeah, and that is a 24.
This person shoots you. Their friend shoots you. This young man moves to reload this weapon, but you're already upon him, shoving him to the ground. He just watches your boots tramp past as you make your way to his friend in the back. The man with the axe is taller than the others, and wearing better armor.
Char's gonna take an attack against him.
Well, your attack was already made with shoving the person, but you have at least engaged melee range with this person as your blade locks against his axe. He lowers the face mask of his helm over his mouth and locks eyes with you. And now that you're close and you're in the thick of combat, you can see the purple coloration of the armor. You've seen armor like this before. These people are wearing the colors of the city-state of Fuchsia.
He won't be able to see, but Char is grinning at him underneath the helmet. It's not really a grin, not really a grimace. It's closer to a snarl because that's what her face does when she's excited and happy. Now Char is engaged and in her element, and under the helmet it's gonna have reverb. Well, now things are getting interesting. Let's have some fun.
Cole, you're up.
I guess after hearing the sound of the crossbow, Cole would have taken his longbow off his shoulder and knocked an arrow before coming tight around the corner into the mouth of the cave.
You can see 2 barrels stacked up against the entrance, large barrels. You can see one person standing behind one with a crossbow trying to reload. Another person has been knocked down behind the one to your right and is scrambling their way to their feet. And then behind the barrels, there's a series of stalagmites and stalactites that 2 more men are hiding behind. And further past that is Char engaged with a tall armored man with an axe.
Well, I think the first guy trying to reload the crossbow is who I would pull back and fire at.
Okay.
That is a natural 20.
Just immediately ganks the first guy you see. Perfect.
So critical hits, for those who don't know, you roll the die twice and add your bonus numbers to damage, like your dexterity score is added once.
Plus 4 is 11 points of damage.
11 damage is enough to straight up kill this person. If you want to describe that, I'll leave you to that.
Turn tight around the corner of the mouth of the cave, bowstring back to the cheek, fire, and it goes through the body of the crossbow that he's trying to reload into his gut. And you get that quick moment of, oh shit, before he falls.
I guess you can decide whether you want to stay here at the mouth of the cave or move up to the barrel position. Try to take cover behind that.
Well, then if I can, I'll shift to the other side of the mouth of the cave so that for the next time he'll be on a diagonal from me.
Great. Positioning yourself for a good shot at the other person. Alright, 2 crossbow bolts from the other 2 archers are coming your way. What's Cole's armor class?
16.
One person let fly too soon, as you were hiding on one side of the cave entrance. The other person held their fire, held their shot, until the moment you broke. And as you crossed the mouth entrance of the cave, the bolt found you. You take 5 points of damage.
Whew, I was really worried about a critical hit coming back my way. Okay, 5 points I can handle. All right.
The warrior with the axe locked up against Charlotte's sword. Right now they're locked in a contest of strength as they're just pushing on each other, trying to find an opening. but her combatant did not roll well enough to gain a clear advantage over Shar, so you two are still locked up in a brutal, muscly fist fight right now. Dart.
Yes?
You can see that the Liz girl has made her way down the cliff safely. She's reached the beach. What are you gonna do?
I kind of want Shar alive, so... Would you say there are any rocks in front of the cave that I could potentially hide behind?
I mean, for what it's worth, once I get into that cave, you're going to basically have the place to yourself. We will have other things to pay attention to.
I guess I'll go ahead and head over and descend the rope and try to get in front of the cave, if that would just be my movement. I'll wait for Liz to get in first.
Oh, God, yeah. They went inside the cave, and then, this is, they might need my help.
You find Cole at the mouth of the cave with a crossbow bolt sticking out of his left thigh.
How close to dead does Cole look?
I'm just over half my HP.
Liz is going to keep the situation inside. Would you say that there are 2 or perhaps 3 of them within 5 feet of each other?
The 2 backline archers by the stalactites, yeah.
Just kind of on the way past, Liz is going to reach down into her belt and pull out what looks kind of like a wooden throwing knife, made from just like a very kind of a thin, flimsy-ish material that she launches towards the just basically center mass on the 2 of them that are close together. And that is it's a 24 to hit. So the one that it hits, the impact is only 2 damage. But as it impacts and it smashes into his shoulder with some force, it'd be like throwing a rock, but then the knife explodes. There's a bang as volatile chemicals inside of the knife combine, and so the target and each creature within 5 feet of the point must succeed on a dexterity saving throw.
Wow. One person fails the roll, so whatever you roll, they'll take that damage. The other person fumbled, so they'll take max damage from that.
Okay, it's a 2d6, so the one takes 8, and the one that fumbles would take 12.
Jeez. Alright, so one of them is just dead. Not the one you hit, strangely.
Like, the knife hits and bounces off, and the guy's able to get his, the one guy's able to get his hands kind of over it, so that when the knife explodes and, like, bits of wood go flying everywhere, it unfortunately gets the one guy who is looking at it kind of dumbfounded, like, why would somebody just throw a stick?
I'm picturing, I don't know if you played Halo 3, they have these spike grenades that fire out shaped charges in, like, a cone, rather than a spherical radius.
So yeah, this thing, like, the one guy's able to sort of protect his face, and so he's got like an arm full of splinters. The other one was basically looking directly at it, and it didn't go so good for him.
It took his face off. Dart, I think we need to see how you get down.
Acrobatics, I would think.
Flips and shit.
Okay, you're taking the rope swing.
Well, I don't want to get into the cave where I can be seen by the group.
Yeah, that's fine. But we will get you down there safely, at least, with a good enough check.
22.
So, you get down whack. Like, if anyone was watching you, they would say you basically just fell full speed and hit the ground. It would be extremely impressive if you actually had an audience. You'll have to settle for knowing yourself how cool you are.
Okay, is Shar still in the blade lock with the guy with the axe?
Yeah. And it is her turn, so...
She's going to take an attack against him, and... Well, that's another crit 20.
Fuck. Roll 2d8 plus your strength.
19.
Whew. I don't know who you are, Merc, or how much they're paying you, but if you want to live through this, you better just throw down that weapon right now and surrender. Maybe we'll show mercy.
How unfortunate. I don't. And she splits him from groin to neck. Just a full bisect him.
Now it's a samurai film. Now we can apply the blood fountain special effect. Send that red stuff gushing everywhere.
Okay, so she's bisected this guy. She's covered in blood. So as he falls, she's going to turn to his accomplices and she's going to say...
I think before you say anything, the 2 archers just look at each other like, holy shit!
Unless you would like to test my mercy further, I suggest you throw down your weapons.
The one guy has taken a lot of shrapnel damage, but although there is fear in his eyes, he still raises his crossbow and actually scores a hit on you, Shar.
All right.
Ooh, and it's a doozy. You take 9 damage. I think you're gut shot.
Shit. Oh, she is not going to be merciful now.
The final archer now kind of has to choose between
Life and death.
the people at the front of the cave or the monster inside of the cave. Yeah, I think he fires a bolt at Char just because she's closest and is scariest. But that was a low percentage shot. Charlotte has a lot of armor. You block the second bolt, but that first one is hurting you bad.
Oh, I am hurt, and I am fucking pissed.
Well, Cole is up.
Cole is going to take a shot at the one that just turned his back on him.
Oh, I did say he was turning his back on you. I will let you attack with advantage if you want.
All right, that was already a 24. Let's see if I crit this. I do not crit this, but a 24. I'm going to assume that hits.
Yeah. Assume away.
That's only 6 damage.
Yeah, shoulder shot. Person's got an arrow in their arm. Oh, Cole, if you want to move anywhere, if you want to move further into the cave, you can.
I just want to move into cover.
All right, run, hide behind a rice barrel. Liz, is your turn.
Seeing the condition that that Char is in, she will actually, like, she sort of hoists her shield up in front of her and pushes into the cave, kind of squeeze her way through and around the archers and get up next to Charlotte, and then just kind of like fluidly break the one end of the arrow off and then she pulls a bunch of moss out of an airtight pouch that is attached to one leg and slaps it onto the wound. Like it fills the air with a bit of a smell and like a bit of an alcohol smell, but Charlotte, you immediately feel it adhere basically to the wound as an anesthetic seeps in, and you kind of get strength returning to you, which is only going to heal you for 4.
That still takes me close to half my HP. I was down to 2.
Yes. So you are back up to 6 and feeling a hell of a lot better than you were, and Liz is now standing next to you, shield out, facing down these 2 assholes.
Dart, that's you.
Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take out my short bow, ready an arrow, and try to send it flying at the archer that I guess would be on from Liz and Char's perspective on their right.
So no one knows you're here. You're firing with advantage and dealing sneak attack if you hit.
24.
So roll 1d6 for the bow, and then another d6 for sneak attack.
Plus dex modifier is 13.
Yeah, that's a hard kill.
So just like all of a sudden, the last couple of seconds has been Liz charges past a couple of dudes, slaps some moss on, and takes up a defensive stance next to Char. Char starts feeling better, is able to stand up straighter, and is like, all right, let's fucking do this. Cole's like, hell yeah. Readies another arrow when, just like from out of nowhere, arrow flies over his shoulder, and then this guy just drops.
And now I think we're down to 1 mostly wounded archer. Unless we've somehow managed to kill him too already.
No, Char. This person, that's the one with 2 hit points left, and it's Char's turn. This is the one that gut shot you.
Oh, you, yes.
As a part of my action after I kill the archer on the right, I'm going to yell, "Keep one alive, you need to ask them questions."
I should tell you what this person's doing once they realize you're outnumbered. You might have to move fast, because this person has drawn a knife. It looks like they're preparing to, like, take their own life.
Okay, so what Shara's gonna do is she's actually gonna throw her shield at him to, like, knock the knife out of his hand and probably break his nose, because he did gut shot her, and she's still pissed about that.
Let's see if you succeed.
I rolled a 17.
That does hit the armor class. I assume you can deal more than 2 points of damage, so I think it happens exactly as you say.
So this guy sees that we've killed all the rest of his party. He's taken out his knife. He's going to do the honorable thing and commit harakiri to make sure that he can't talk. And then a shield flies out of the darkness, smashes the knife into his hand, and breaks his nose, and just sending blood gushing all over the place, and he drops like a fucking sack.
Gorgeous.
If combat is over, I'm going to go ahead and if no one's noticed me, I'm going to go up, just climb back up the rope and get on top of the cave again.
I mean,
You did kill a guy.
I was at the mouth of the cave, so I'll roll perception, I guess.
Yeah, I guess what I do will depend on that.
That's a 13, so I guess beat that with your stealth, which should be pretty easy.
Maybe not, I rolled a 2.
Oh, I think I win that.
Yeah. I think he just turns and sees me as I'm standing there, and I just wave.
I think I would notice you would wave, and my Cole's only response is, "Where do you keep coming from?"
The toads are everywhere, what can I say?
While they're doing that, Liz, I want you to make an investigation check.
That is an 18.
So, somewhere in this cave there is a body that has been cut completely in half. I feel like you're kind of zoning in on this very extremely dead body when you notice the hand, and you notice a ring on the hand. There's that bird again. You don't know what it is. It's not one of the known gods of heaven or earth, but you know it's the same kind of ring that the mayor was wearing.
Char's gonna stand basically in the middle of the cave, look around, and say, "Well, that was invigorating. Now, let's see what he was about to destroy." And she's gonna go over to the treasure chest that the axe-wielding guy was about to smash, because I don't know what this is, but if he wants to destroy it, I want to make that not happen. So she's gonna go over to the chest and open it.
Awesome. And with that, Char pries the chest open, and inside the chest is a creature. It is small and fuzzy and pink, and it has enormous black eyes, and it stirs as you open the chest, looks Char in the face.
"Hello, new friend." Well, wasn't that a fun first session? Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a bit of this incredible story we're building together. Also, don't forget to leave a review, as it helps more people find our little class. If you'd like to get in touch with us, we can be found on our Twitter and Instagram accounts at Pokemon Primeval. And you can always email us at PokemonPrimeval@gmail.com. Thanks, of course, to our wonderful adjuncts, Kevin MacLeod for providing music for our session, and Kit Mulcairn for providing the voice of Mew. We hope to see you in 2 weeks in our next session, where our story continues.